Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back, Stoeger. Okay, I had to say it. I did it on my A30 video. Like, come on. Anyways, I love my Stoeger A30, and I decided today it's time to add another one, the X3 TAC. Now, I've seen a couple of reviews on Canadian Tire's website. Haven't really searched YouTube much though. Don't really care to. I figured I'm going to learn this on my own on this one, really. But I did check a few reviews nonetheless, and there were maybe a couple of people that were a little disappointed with the gun. Well, it's a youth gun, okay? But it is big enough for an adult as well, okay? It is .177 caliber. It's a carbine because it's got a very short barrel. And it does have a dovetailed grooved receiver, which is kind of cool. And it comes with open sights, no scope on this one. But it was on sale again today at Canadian Tire for $102. Now to me the gun's worth $102. I saw one at a pawn shop, same gun, and it was well used, okay? Even the breech seal was pretty flattened. And they still wanted like $80, and I'm like, no. And anyways, this gun normally sells for $159.99, so just call it $160 at Canadian Tire, which is a little overpriced, I know, even for Canada, but that's Canadian Tire. They always charge us way more than even other Canadian dealers do. But you know, hey, it's local, it's easy to pick up, it's on the shelf, grab it. Now, as far as the warranty goes, there is none. If you live in Canada, Stoeger will not warranty their guns apparently. So Canadian Tire usually does what they call a 5-year repair-only warranty. So they send it out to someone in who knows where to get repaired, and don't know how long that's going to take. So you got to kind of decide, you know, do you want to go through this? Because normally their guns, it's a 1-year over-the-counter exchange, right? But in the case of the Stoegers, they usually provide a 5-year repair only. So you bring it back to the store, they send it out, they have it repaired. When it comes back someday, you'll have your gun. And I've asked the managers before at Canadian Tire, well, where do you send the guns to? And they're like, well, I don't know. So the managers don't actually know where they go to, but somebody sure does. But anyhow, so I don't really care about that as far as bringing it back for their warranty thing. I figure if it shoots great out of the box, it should be good. If it does fail, there's always third-party parts online, and I'm sure I could always get a hold of Stoeger for parts if I needed to and get my parts sent to me. So you do get a manual, which is pretty basic, tells you, you know, how to properly sight in at a target, what the knobs do on the side adjuster and your elevation control, the usual stuff. A few things that you should never do, like don't point it at anybody, because that's just not a cool thing to do. The thing is, you know, even for .177 and non-pallets, still, you know, they're still dangerous, so you don't point them at people. They got some basic info in here. They talk about warranty claims in here as well. That sort of thing, just the basic rundown. So not really much of a manual, but it gives you enough information that it'll keep you out of trouble. And at least they do go over, of course, about lubricating the gun, because it is a Springer. It needs periodic lubricating from time to time. Now, I know a lot of guys use a lot of things for oils, but you should only be using a 100% pure silicone oil that has no petroleum distillants in it. Or you use silicone chamber oil specific, which you can get the Crosman stuff locally in Canada at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and many other places that carry air guns. Okay, but do use the proper stuff to lube it with, otherwise, yeah, you're going to run into issues. Anyhow, and you do have to lube the breech seal. Now, my A30, it's once every 1,000 shots you lubricate it, except of course for the breech seal. I'd say every couple hundred shots to keep that seal in good shape. You know, but it is replaceable nonetheless, so it can be replaced even with third-party stuff, can be done. No big deal. We have a full synthetic stock on this thing. We have an automatic safety, that will automatically come on, and when the little white dot's there, you're not pulling the trigger because nothing's going to happen. Push it in before you fire. I like the idea of auto safeties. I think they're kind of neat, especially for kids. For adults, it can be a little annoying. But anyways, I have another Stoeger with a safety like this, so there you go. I deal with it. It is carbine-y because it is a short barrel length. I'd have to actually measure this barrel for you guys if you want to know the exact length. Because someone's going to ask, I'm sure. Which is another reason why we're doing this in the shop, because we're going to Chrony this thing today too. So, not including the 1/4 inch recess, well, if you want to include the recess, we're at 15 inches, so 14, it would actually end up being 14 and 3/4 for the actual, from the breech inlet right to the very tip of the actual muzzle, okay, not including, because there is a bit of a recess of about 1/4 inch there, so that's where you're sitting for your barrel length. Anyways, we have some choice pellets today. We have 5.5 grain Prometheus. We have 7 grain Hobbies, 7.4 Premier pointed pellets, Crossman. We have Crossman Premier Hollow Point 7.9, RWS Superdome 8.3s, and some beefies. We've got Ultra Shock Heavy Diablo 10.34 grain. Now I do have a pellet that is one more stage up from that, which is over 13 grain. Even those pellets will not fire out of any of my springers. So even my nitro, forget it. They're just way too heavy of a pellet. But they do fire great out of CO2 guns and pop-up guns for some reason that I have. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But we do what we do. So let's fire up our chronograph. And I will redirect our camera. And I am definitely wearing my safety glasses, because the odd time things tend to fly out of that trap. Alright, so we're going to go from lightest to heaviest. So first, 5.5 grain. Now we're going to do 3 shots of each, and we're going to see what kind of speeds we're going to get out of this puppy. Five, 2, 7. Six, 2. Hot tamale. That's nice. Wonder how many more times that'll do that. 547. I think I like that 600 one better. Anyways, 11 grain Hobbies now. See what they do. Oh, sorry, not 11. 7 grain Hobbies. I keep thinking 11 for some reason because I got a few cans of them for my 22 cal. 497. Not bad. That's decent. 484. It's going to take a while for this thing to break in and really settle its speeds down. It's a brand new gun, and all brand new guns do that. And springers take a while. 483. I want to put one more of those through. 490. Alright, not bad. 7.4 grain Crossman pointed Premiers. $487. Can't wait to get this thing shooting outside. Oh, we busted an error. We're going to put 2 more through anyways, just because we got the error. 496. Pretty respectable for 7.4s. Okay, 7.9 grain Premier hollow points. It'd be interesting to see the grouping test on this gun. 445. Go with heavier pellet. It's amazing how very little grain weight makes such a huge difference. Cocking effort, by the way, on this gun, guys, is really good. It's really not that bad. Alright, moving on to RWS Superdome 8.3 grain. Alright, Ultra Shot, 10.34 grain. Oh, we got an error. Alright, well, we just start over, that's all. No, still got an error. Let's reset. $3.92. Oh, it's a heavy pellet. $3.89. $3.90. Respectable. I'll have to do some math when I get in the house and find out what kind of energy differences we have. But anyway, let's turn off our Chrony. And let's spin ourselves around. Okay, so obviously this video is called Unboxing, Chronograph, and First Impression. This is not a review. Not a review. I still got to shoot this thing outdoors, and you know, I'm going to be with open sights on this because I don't have a scope for this. But I am going to be shooting this thing with open sights, and probably at, I don't know, definitely 10 meters is going to be in there. I'm going to practice with this thing first before I even do the shooting accuracy test. I want to find out off camera what's going to group the best with this gun out of these 6 choices of pellets, and then we'll just do a shooting accuracy test with it and see what we do. And if I don't get a pellet that groups well enough, well, I guess I'll have to buy more. But either way, we'll still do what we can with what we have for pellets on an accuracy test and see where we go. So, the trigger pull is not bad. It's decent. It's not an adjustable trigger either, okay? This is not a higher class Stoeger. This is a cheapie, alright? Full synthetic stock through and through. From what I can see, there's only one screw that holds this thing together, so it must go, well, unless they're under the caps. Oh, I'll bet you that's where they put them. Yeah, I bet you they put the screws under the caps here. I bet you, yeah, you're going to have to pop the caps off to get out the front screws. Okay, so we do actually have 3 screws. So we have one on either side of the cap. They just hid them is all, which is kind of dumb because you got to adjust these screws every once in a while on spring rifles. So it's like, you're going to have to get like a really fine knife in there and pop the lid. Anyway, and one screw up front. The trigger's not bad. I like it. Cocking effort, it's actually really nice. It's not that bad. Like, any teenager could cock this. Most kids could cock this gun fairly easily. Okay. The big thing is when you do cock it, it's a Springer. You should be holding it for security, because if that sear ever let go and you weren't holding it, yeah, that could really not go well. And don't ever dry fire a Springer or a nitro gun. That's also very bad for them. And safety will automatically go on, which is nice. It's an auto safety. And we fire. Okay, that's it. And it's a really nice straight pull on the trigger. It's as far as any kind of relief in the trigger, there's just a hair, and and it'll go off. Like, it's pretty crispy, so that's decent. I like the stock design. I like the size. You know, when I first saw one of these at the pawn shop and held it, you know, even though they wanted 80 bucks, which was way too much. I mean, nothing was beating the snot, and you know, I said, I'll give you 50, and they're like, no. Hey, it's been here for like 4 months, okay? Like, come on, cut some slack here. You know, these things go on sale for 102. And this one at the pawn shop was pretty used, and even had mud up front here somehow. Anyway, who knows? Who cares? I left it to rot. These come on sale for about $102 at Canadian Tire. Now, at $160, I'm going to give you part of my opinion right now. It's definitely not worth no 160 bucks, even in Canada. 102, that was a good price, so I'm all for the price. But we're going to run a bunch more pellets through this thing, obviously. See how well it stands up and how accurate the gun actually is with open sights. I can still shoot extremely accurate with open sights as long as I'm within the limits of my abilities. You know, as I've gotten older, of course, I have to wear glasses and, you know, that sort of thing, and I'm shooting at targets. And we're going to shoot metal targets too to see how well they knock down metal targets, but we want to do some paper punching and see how accurate it is with paper punching. And we'll do that in 2 types of targets. We'll use one of my animal targets like you saw. Well, actually, I don't even think you saw that in the Chrony. I got wild turkeys in the Chronograph target. They're hard to hit, by the way. But I also have other ones, and we'll try those, and we'll try a normal actual sighting target and see how accurate the gun actually is with open sights. Now, it does have the 11mm dovetail receiver. There's no scope stop, so like a hole for a scope stop in your mounts. So I would probably recommend one of those one-piece mounts that has 3 or 4 screws to lock down with, and just really snug them up super tight because you don't want scope creep. The thing doesn't really vibrate that much. Like, it's very minimal actually compared to my other Springers, even in 177. It's not much of a kick, you know. So you could put on pretty much any scope you wanted to, as long as it's a shock-proof scope. If it's not shock-proof, don't put it on because you'll blow the rectal right out of the scope. But also make sure whatever scope you do put on, this thing is going to be range limited. Okay, I mean, it is a sub 500 feet per second gun, which is fine. They're usually good for some pretty good ranges, you know, 40, 50 meters tops, depending on the gun and the caliber and so on, right? But this one here, as far as accuracy goes, I don't know what it's going to be like. We're going to have to find out for open sights for sure. I don't have a scope I can put on it at this point in time because I'm not willing to take a scope off of another rifle for that. But I will do this with open sights because I didn't care about scope capabilities on this one. I actually wanted something without scope, but I wanted lightweight, and I liked the size. I liked the balance. The fiber optic sights, I'm not a real keen fan on fiber sights, but you know, I could probably get used to these, you know. It'll just take a little bit of time to deal with it. Now, this thing is factory set up. They have actually shifted this over to the left, but that doesn't mean they sighted it in. You know, obviously, well, every gun's going to use different pellets, right? So they probably just did that one. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. Yep, that looks almost centered. And throw it in the box when you go out the door. But yeah, it does seem to be decently built together. Like even the stock on the inside, I'm looking at the inside of the moldings and the bracing that they have in there for the molding, and it looks good. You'll never mount a bipod on this thing in the traditional areas because, yeah, it's just not going to happen. But there is certainly enough sidewall meat here, probably in about right in behind the mount screws probably. Looks like there's enough room that if you did it right, you could get those single leg assembly bipods and put something like that on if you wanted to, or get a barrel mount bipod. I actually have a barrel mount bipod. Should actually try and see how it fits around here, this way I don't mar up my barrel. I'll have to check that out and see. But so far as my first impression, I'm very impressed with the speeds out of this gun. Especially that 600 we got. That was like sick. It's like, man, I wish it did that with a standard pellet. But yeah, it's a non-pellet gun, so you can only expect so much. But definitely impressed with the speeds of these pellets. And I'll be using all the same pellets when I go to sight in the gun to see what it groups the best with. I don't know, maybe I will do a grouping video. We'll have to see. It just kind of depends, right? We may do that just right off the hop and just do a grouping video, see how well it groups, and then find out what it likes, and then we'll do a separate video of accuracy shooting, because it's going to take a while as it is just to try grouping videos. But I'm thinking as far as the pellet choices go, we're going to go with the 5 actually, because the 5.5 grain pellets, although they fly out of there really super fast, they're only a 5.5 grain pellet, so they're really not that heavy. And they're going to get blown off really quick even with a light wind. So I think what we'll do is we'll go with the hobbies, the pointeds, the remainders, okay? Everything but these. These are great for speeds though, to see what kind of max velocity we can get. Yeah, very impressed so far with the gun. So far I think it's pretty cool. I only got to hold the one at the Hawk Shop, but I thought, yeah, I kind of like this one. You know, I like it. And then it went back on sale this week at Canadian Tire. By the way, while I'm at it, the Stoeger A30, remember that was supposed to be for sale in July? Well, it didn't show up for sale until I think it was August, right? Well, it's back on sale again this week too. So if you like that Stoeger A30 that's on my channel, go check it out, okay? It's back on sale at Canadian Tire again this week for like, I think it's $224. That's definitely worth that amount of money. That Stoeger is really nice. Comes with a beautiful scope. Holds zero extremely perfectly well, you know. Just an all-around great gun too. Loads of power. Nice gun. I love it. And but I like this one. This is kind of cool. So we'll have to see how well it groups, and then we'll see how much more I like it. But I do like the style. I like the weight. I like the hold on it. It's nice and small. I can actually stand up and probably shoot this sucker all day and stay stable, because I can hold this really well and it's nicely balanced because it's very lightweight too, right? Which is kind of a nice little bonus, you know, just whip that thing around like nobody's business. Okay, so I am out of here, but do let me know what you think so far. Let me know what you think of the chronograph results. Stay tuned. We will, again, like I said, we'll just do the grouping video, and then we'll do a separate, just straight out accuracy video later, once we find out its most favorite pellet, of course. Then, of course, I'll have after that a full review on this gun. It'll probably, maybe a year down the road, well, I know I'll still have the gun, unless I blow it up. Well, that's, you know, I mean, hey, it could die, so it's just going to end up in the trash can. I'm not going to send it away, but no, I'll fix it if it breaks. But yeah, so we'll probably do an update review in about a year on it, or maybe 6 months. We'll see. Winter's coming too, so that's going to be interesting for some winter shooting with it, to see how well it does outside. Because I also wanted a couple more rifles for shooting in the winter with, because CO2 guns, they suck in the winter, okay? But pumpers, springers, nitro guns. Nitro guns are supposed to be good from what I'm being told. This will be my first winter actually shooting a nitro gun, and we're going to do the freeze test on it. I'm going to sit it outside for half a day and let it freeze to death in the sub-freezing temperatures of Canada here, and then we're going to go shoot it over the Chrony in here and see what it actually can do in the wintertime. So as far as how much performance loss do we get, if any, and so on. So stay tuned for those videos over the winter. But otherwise, it seems to be like it's a good rifle for teens for sure. And definitely an adult-sized rifle too, you know. A lot of us like our little carbine guns, and this is kind of a nice little carbine. It'd be nice to have this in a 22 caliber. I don't even know if they make a 22 version of this. I'll have to check the Stoeger site, because I like a couple of 22 caliber Stoeger guns. Because so far, like I said, I'm severely impressed with that 830. So that's been a really good workhorse gun so far. Anyways, I am out of here. Have fun. Happy shooting. Catch you on the next one.